The unexpected twists in life can be astonishing, and Sherri Papini's story is no exception. A California mom, Sherri Papini, was at the epicenter of a shocking revelation that left the whole nation in disbelief. For years, she maintained a chilling narrative of abduction, torture, and branding, a tale that garnered nationwide sympathy and concern. But as the saying goes, truth is stranger than fiction, and the truth behind Sherri's tale was nothing short of astounding. The woman who once painted herself as a victim, a woman scarred and traumatized, was revealed to be the mastermind behind her own kidnapping. In a twist no one saw coming, Sherri admitted to staging her own abduction, causing injuries to herself, and living not in captivity, but at a former boyfriend's home. The fallout was immediate and widespread. The sympathy that once poured in for Sherri shifted to a wave of shock and disappointment. The public, once moved by her story, were left asking, how could someone fabricate such a horrific ordeal? Sherri Papini, once perceived as a victim, became the orchestrator of a deception that fooled an entire nation. But let's rewind the clock to November 2016, when Sherri Papini's world, as we knew it, turned upside down. It was a day just like any other in the quiet, Northern California town where Sherri resided. As part of her usual routine, Sherri, a mother known for her dedication to fitness, set out for her daily jog. However, as hours ticked by, Sherri did not return home. Her husband, growing increasingly concerned, used a phone app to locate her, only to find her abandoned phone and earbuds on a trail. Immediately, a missing person report was filed. The local law enforcement swung into action, treating her disappearance as a potential abduction. Sherri Papini, the town's beloved resident and mother of two, had mysteriously vanished. The community was swept up in a wave of concern. Vigils were held, prayers were offered, and flyers with Sherri's face were distributed far and wide. A reward for information leading to Sherri's whereabouts was set up, amassing a staggering $50,000. The entire town, it seemed, was holding its breath, waiting for any news of Sherri. As the initial investigation unfolded, law enforcement agencies left no stone unturned. They conducted extensive search operations, employing everything from sniffer dogs to helicopters, scouring the vast surrounding wilderness. They followed up on every lead, interviewed potential witnesses, and analyzed surveillance footage. Despite these efforts, Sherri seemed to have vanished into thin air. The days turned into weeks. The lack of any solid leads or breakthroughs began to take a toll on the community's collective spirit. The fear was palpable, the silence deafening. Sherri's disappearance seemed to hang like a dark cloud over the town, a constant reminder of the unknown. With each passing day, hope dwindled and fear escalated, but no one was prepared for what was to come. After a grueling 22 days, Sherri Papini was found, but the mystery was far from over. Sherri was discovered alone on an interstate highway, a startling sight that was just the beginning of a twisted tale. She appeared gaunt, weighing less than 90 pounds, and was branded with an alleged heated tool. The injuries she bore were consistent with her chilling account of being kidnapped, beaten, and branded, a story that would hold the nation in its grip for years to come. The story she spun was one of terror and torment. She claimed to have been abducted by two Hispanic women while out jogging, a narrative that gripped the public's attention and sent shockwaves of fear through communities far and wide. Yet as the investigation into her alleged kidnapping progressed, inconsistencies in her account began to emerge. Sherri's injuries, initially thought to be evidence of her ordeal, were brought into question. Medical experts suggested that the injuries could have been self-inflicted, raising doubts about the authenticity of her kidnapping story. The branding, initially thought to be a mark of her captors, was found to be superficial and could have been self-administered. Investigators also began to question her narrative of abduction. The supposed kidnappers remained elusive, and the lack of evidence supporting their existence began to cast a shadow over Sherri's tale. Her account of her time in captivity was filled with gaps and contradictions, leading investigators to suspect that she might not have been held captive at all. The inconsistencies didn't stop there. Sherri had claimed to have been held captive, yet further investigation revealed that she had been staying at a former boyfriend's home during the time of her supposed abduction. This shocking twist added another layer of deception to her already convoluted tale. As investigators dug deeper, a web of lies began to unravel. The truth behind Sherri Papini's disappearance was far more complex and deceptive than anyone could have imagined. But as the facts began to surface, the real story started to take shape, revealing a tale of deception, manipulation, and a desperate bid for attention. The truth, they say, always finds a way to surface. And in Sherri Papini's case, it did. The day of reckoning came for Sherri when she finally admitted to the world that her harrowing tale of kidnap and abuse was nothing more than a fabrication. A lie spun out of thin air, a story that held the nation captive in fear and sympathy. The public, who had been gripped by her story, reacted with shock and disbelief. The sympathy quickly turned into outrage. People felt betrayed, deceived by a woman they had empathized with, prayed for, and supported through her supposed ordeal. Sherri's confession wasn't just a shocking revelation, it also opened her up to legal implications. She was charged with federal crimes, including mail fraud and making false statements. The charges carried a potential sentence of up to 25 years in prison, a stark contrast to the sympathy and support she initially received. In a twist of irony, Sherri, who had falsely claimed to be a captive, was now facing the real possibility of captivity. She agreed to pay over $300,000 in restitution, an attempt to compensate for the resources wasted on her fictitious ordeal. Sherri's deception was not without consequence, and the price she paid was steep. In the aftermath of Sherri Papini's elaborate hoax, the ripples were felt far and wide. This California mom, who spun a web of lies about being kidnapped, left a lasting impact not just on her family, but also on public trust and law enforcement efforts. Her false tale of abduction, sustained over years, drained valuable resources, costing various agencies over $300,000 in restitution. The trust that the public places in law enforcement was undoubtedly shaken as they witnessed the unraveling of a case they had followed with bated breath. For her family, the emotional havoc wreaked was immeasurable. The psychological toll of believing a loved one was in grave danger, only to learn it was a ruse, is a wound that may never fully heal. But the implications extend beyond the immediate circle of impact. False reporting, as exemplified by Papini, sows seeds of distrust in society. It fuels skepticism towards genuine victims of crime, making it harder for their voices to be heard and believed. Sherri Papini's story serves as a stark reminder of the devastating effects of deception, a tale that will echo through the annals of true crime history.